Hello everyone and welcome to the part 11 of this video series where we are making a Dribble clone. Now in this video we are going to authenticate our user and also we are going to upload our media to the Cloudinary. So we are going to do these two things, and with that we are going to upload our data to the database. Okay, so in this video we are going to do these things. Now earlier I was planning to use Clerk for the authentication, but some of my subscribers suggested me to use Next.Auth instead of Clerk. So I'll be using Next.Auth instead of Clerk here, but be assured I'll still explain how to set up Clerk and how to work around that. Okay, but in the final project we are going to use Next.Auth instead of Clerk. Okay, so let's go and start working on our user authentication, and first we are going to use Clerk here. So go to the Clerk website and then go to the docs, then choose Next.js as a framework, and then we can install our package. Okay, cd Dribbble, install the Clerk.js. Now we need to add these things in our local file, so we are going to make local file here .env.local. okay, and paste it here. Now we are going to get these from our Clerk dashboard. So for that, let's go here and I'm going to open one more tab here, and inside that I'm going to sign in. Now after signing, you will be directed to this page, and let's create a new application here. Okay, so the application name will be Dribble, and I'm going to choose Google and GitHub, and I'm going to remove this email. So I'm only going to allow by Google or by GitHub sign in to my project. Okay, so now let me inspect this, and after that create the application. And now here you'll see your env keys. Okay, so copy these and paste here. Okay, then let's go here. Okay, after that we need to create middleware here, so copy these, and so inside your source directory here create a new file that would be middleware.ts. okay, and if you are not using source directory here, then you have to create this middleware here. Okay, but if you are using source, then you have to create the middleware inside the source. You can actually read it here. Okay. Now here we can paste this for now. Okay, and after that we need to wrap our layout inside the Clerk provider. So let's copy this and go to the layout. So this will be the layout. And let's import this Clerk provider from Clerk Next.js. Okay, so that is done. And now let's go to the home page here. Okay, and I'm on the home page here as well, page.tsx. Now here we are going to see how you can use the session from the Clerk inside your whole application. So as you know, we have two kinds of components here, client and server components, and Clerk provide different functions to use in the different components. So first we are going to see the functions that is provided by the Clerk to use on the server side. So let's go here, and if you type server Clerk component, then you see this page over here. Okay, and here you'll see two methods, first auth and second is current user from the Clerk/Next.js/server. okay, so you can get these two functions or method from this package. Okay, now these two can be used in the server actions or in the backend. Okay, so first we have this auth, so let's copy this and paste it here. Okay, and we can get many things from auth, so let's write it like this. And now let's see what this provides us. So this provides these many things, but the most important thing that it provides is the user ID. So using this auth, you can get the current logged in user ID in your server component or in the server actions anywhere, just like this. Okay, now if you want to get the whole current user in your server component, then you can do that as well using this function. So let's copy this, and then we can copy this as well. Let's paste this and make this a sync function, and let's console both. Okay, using these two we can either get the user ID. If you want only user ID, then you can use this. If you want whole user, then you can use this. Okay, so now let's save this, and so after refreshing, you will see in the console we do not have anything. We have null for the user ID and null for the user. Okay, so for this to work, let's go and sign in first in our whole application. So for that we can use some components from Clerk. So we have sign in component, so let's copy this. Okay, so copy this, and this only works in the client component, so we have to make a navbar here, and this will be just temporary navbar. Okay, so we can edit here and make this a client component, otherwise we'll get some errors. Let's copy this, paste it here, and also we can get one more component, and that would be user button. So we can just write user button, and now we can add it to the page.tsx. So we can write navbar. Okay, so we have our sign in component here. Let's ignore this for now, and let's sign in. And as you can see, I have logged in here, and that is why I'm getting my user button. You can ignore this error for now. We are going to fix that later. So we have our user button here, and we should be getting our data here. Okay, so as you can see, now we have user ID, this, and the user. Okay, so in which you can find all these things. So first name, last name, email address, and everything. Okay, so this way you can get the user or user ID in your server component. Now if you want that, if you want the same thing in your client component, then we can go here and search for that as well. So Clerk user client component, something like that. Okay, and then you can see that we have a page here dedicated to that. We can use user, and this will return the user in our client component. Okay, so let's go to the navbar, paste it here, and then we can get the user from this. So we can write const curly braces is equals to use user. You can get the user from here. Now if I console this, user, okay, and let's go here and refresh the page, and for now let's go and comment this out so we do not get error. And as you can see, we have our user here. Okay, so from here you can get the ID, and you can also get other things. So let's go to the use user, and we can see that we can get the user dot full name from here, dot full name, or we can get user dot email addresses, and similarly we can get user dot ID. Okay, so we can get many things from this user. As you can see here, we are getting name, the emails, and also the user ID. So for getting the session in our client component, you can use this use user, and for the server component we can use this thing. Okay, so now with this done, let's go to our middleware and protect some routes here. So right now no route is protected, so to protect all route we need to go to the middleware, and we need to change some things here. So we can close this and this one as well, and then we can go to the browser and search for this page, so Clerk middleware. So now if I go down, you can see that we have created a route matcher here. So this will be the protected routes, so we can copy this and paste here, okay, and we can import this, and we can remove this, and I'm going to write slash, this will be the home page, and I can change this to public route. So the home page will be public route, is public route, okay. So this will be the public route, okay, instead of the protected route. Now we can go below, and as you can see, we have to write something in our Clerk middleware function. So we can write auth request and a function, then function. Now inside this we can copy this and paste here, okay, and we can just replace this, okay. For right now, this will actually protect this home page. So if I go here and refresh the page, and now if I sign out here, okay, so as you can see, as soon as I signed out from my application, I got redirected to the sign in page, okay. So that means the home page right now is protected, but I don't want to protect the home page, okay. So for that, I can use a exclamatory mark here, and this will actually now will not protect this public route, okay. So now we can save this, and I can go back to the localhost 3000, and as you can see, now I'm not being redirected to the sign in page, and as you can see, also I'm not getting my user button because I'm not signed in, okay. So this way you can actually add a public route in the middleware, okay. Now apart from this home page, every route is protected, so I can write uploads new, okay, and this page is protected right now. As you can see, I have been redirected to the sign in page as soon as I tried to go to the upload page, okay. So that means this is protected page and the home page is not protected there, okay. So I hope you understand about this, how you can implement the middleware in your project. Now if you want to learn more, you can definitely go below, and they have many topics here, and one of the topic was protect all routes, and as you can see, we have done the same as they have done here, okay. After that, we have some debug, combine, and something like that. So you can actually read this documentation if you have any problem or have some specific use case, okay. So you can do that. Now with this done, our application is protected except for the home page. Now you can add some more pages here. You can add short, let's go to middleware. As you can see here, we can write it like this, okay. So you can leave the short page as well, because when you click on one of the short here, then you will be directed to a new URL, okay. So we want that to be not protected as well, okay. Apart from that, you can add some more routes here which you do not want to be protected. So yeah, this is how you can use the middleware to protect the routes in your application, okay. So we are also done with our middleware. So we have talked about the middleware. We have also talked about the session of the user, how you can get the user or other details on the both client as well as server components, okay. And now the last part is how you can get the user data in your database, okay. So to solve this problem, we can do this in two ways. Either you can make a function here, and that function will add the data to the database whenever a new user is logged in. So we can make an API call and something like that from here, and that will create the user in our database. So this will be the solution number one. Now the second solution is using webhook. So you can use the webhook to sync your database with the Clerk, so that you can make the users in your database as well. And for this, you need to add endpoint here, which should be deployed, but right now we are working on the local host, so we cannot do this. But actually they provide some docs here and some way to use the webhook on your local host. So I have tried this, but this is not working for me, so I have to actually use the deployed endpoint in this dashboard to create the user in my database. So this will be for the another video. I'll make a new separate video from this series to explain how you can sync your database with your Clerk. But for this project, if you want to use Clerk, then you can obviously go with the first option, in which you can make a function or an API which will create the data in your database, and it can take the values of the current login user using this method or using this. Okay, and then you can pass the data to the API, then you can store that in your database. So this is one way doing this, and you should do this if you want to use Clerk in your application. But we are going to use Next.Auth in this project. So yeah, with this we are done with our explanation of Clerk, and this is how you can set up the Clerk and work around it. Now we are going to start working on the Next.Auth. So I'm going to remove all these things from here now. Okay, so now I have removed the Clerk from our project. Okay, and now we are going to work on the Next.Auth. So go to the auth.js. Actually Next.Auth is becoming auth.js, so we are going to use this. Okay, go to the get started and then Next.js. Okay, and let's install this. So right now this is in beta mode, and but we are going to use this. Okay, and this is actually Next.Auth v5. Okay, so let's install this. We'll get our package here, version 5. Okay, now let's go below. We need to set up our environment here. So copy this, then go to the environment and go to the env.local, and I can remove this and paste here auth secret, and we are going to generate the auth secret using this command. So you can run it here, and this will return some secret key. So we can copy this and paste here. Okay, so this will be my new auth secret. Now let's save and close this. After that, let's go below, and first thing we need to do is to create a file named auth.ts inside our source directory. So let's create that here, auth.ts. Okay, now after that we can copy this and paste here. Okay, now we can close this one, and after that what we need to do, we need to go to our app, and then we need to make this route, which will be API/auth, then auth catch route for Next.Auth, and then route.ts. So go to the app, make one more folder, name will be API auth, then all catch route dot Next.Auth, and then our route, which will be route.ts. Then let's go again here, and we can just copy this and paste here. Apart from this, we are not going to do anything else in this whole route, so we can just save this and close this. Now let's go here again, and we can set up our middleware now. So again, in the source directory we can make one more file, that would be middleware. Okay, and let's go again here, copy this and paste here. Okay, after that let's go to the authentication part, then OAuth, okay, Google, and you will have some more documentation. So we are going to go one by one. This is the callback URL. We are going to actually use this when we are going to go to the Google console. Okay, so right now we do not need this. After that we are going to add these variables in our env.local. okay, and we are going to get these values from Google Console Cloud. So right now we can just leave it like this. And now let's work on our providers here. So in this project I'm going to use two providers, Google and GitHub, but I'll also be showing the credentials provider here. So if some people wants to use credentials in their project, then they can do that as well. Okay, so I'm going to explain Google, GitHub and credentials providers, all of them in this tutorial, but I'll be using only Google and GitHub provider in this project. Okay, now before adding our providers, we need to set up our Prisma first. So let's go here, prisma.io. Let's start it, add to the existing project the relational database, and then we can copy this command to install the Prisma, and then we can install this. Okay, so now this has installed. Let's go again. You can run this command to get different types of command which is used in the Prisma. And now let's initialize our Prisma here. So with this we are going to get a Prisma folder and also a .env file in which we can pass our database URL. Now in the Prisma we are going to get schema.prisma in which we can write our schema. Okay, so with that done, let's go again, connect to the database, and yeah, we need to have the database URL. So we can go to Neon. We are going to use Neon for the database provider. Log in here, and after this you will see this kind of page. Okay, so now you can make some database here. I have already created a database here which will be Dribbble YT, and then you can copy this snippet and then go to the env file and paste it here. Okay, after that let's go again to the Prisma. We are done with the connection to our database. Okay, and we do not need to do anything right now with this. Okay, so we can just go to the again auth here, and before doing anything we should first make our schema here for the user. So let's go to the schema.prisma. Now here go to the adapters, close the providers. Inside the adapters go to the Prisma, and here you will see the schema. So we have the schema for the user here, so we can just copy this from here and paste it here. So we are going to have account, session, user, and verification token. We do not need this because actually this is not being used, and apart from that we are going to use all these models here. So what we have here, we have account model. So if we are signing with the Google or some OAuth providers, then we are going to have the data in our account, and then we have our model for user which will store all the data about user, and we do not need the session here as well, so we can just remove this. These two models we are going to use here. Now let's open your terminal, and we are going to install one more thing which will be the Prisma client. Now let's go again below, install the Prisma client. Now after we have the models, let's actually push these models to our database. So for that we can write npx prisma db push, and this will make the tables account and user in our database. Okay, so let's wait for a second, and as you can see our database is now in sync. So we can go to the Neon tables, okay, and then choose Dribbble YT, and you can see we have two tables, account and user. Okay, now after that we can open this, and we are going to make one more file inside the app, and that would be prisma db dot, and inside that we can write this. So we are going to get Prisma client from prisma/client, and then we are going to define a global variable of Prisma. And the reason of doing this is because in the development mode we get many instances of Prisma client, and because of that we get many errors. So we are going to do this, so we create only one variable of Prisma client in our whole project. Okay, now since we have set up our Prisma here, now we can close this and we can again start working on the authentication. So now we can go here and we can go to the OAuth, and here now we are going to add the provider. So in this application, so in this project I'm going to use Google and GitHub providers, but I'm also going to explain you the credentials provider as well. So if anyone wants to add credentials provider to their project, they can do that as well. Okay, so since we are using Prisma which is not compatible with the Edge, so we cannot write it like this. Okay, so for the credentials we cannot do the same like it is done over here, because Prisma is not compatible with the Edge, and also because of that we won't be able to actually use the callbacks properly. Okay, so to solve this problem we have to do some changes in our setup here. And if you search for the edge compatibility in the Google with the name Next.Auth, you'll see this page, and here they have provided some solutions. So we need to add one more file here, that would be auth.config.ts, and here we are going to add all the providers. Okay, and also we are going to interact with our database here, and after this we can just pass these values inside our Next.Auth. Okay, and this way we can solve this edge compatibility problem. Okay, so let's do that. We are going to make this file now. So inside the source, let's make one more file, auth.ts, sorry, auth.config.ts. Copy this. Okay, now let's again go here, and we can just copy this, go to the auth.ts, paste here. Okay, and we can remove the Prisma, since we are not going to use the Prisma from the Prisma client. Instead we are going to get the Prisma from prisma.db.ts. so import Prisma from app/prisma.db. Yeah, now we can start adding our providers in this file. Okay, so let's work on the credential provider first, and then we can work on the Google and GitHub providers. Since they are very easy to set up, I'm going to work on them later. Okay, after this let's go again here, and we need to change some things in our middleware.ts as well. So copy this, go to the middleware.ts and paste here. Okay, so these are the things that we have to change here. So we made a new file which is auth.config.ts file, then we pass it here and also pass it in our middleware. Okay, now I'm going to make one more file here, routes.ts file. Okay, now here I'm going to define different routes. Okay, so we can have public routes, API routes, authentication routes, okay, and also protected routes. So we can have different kind of routes here. So I'm going to define all of them here. First will be our public route. So export const public routes. Okay, and this will be an array of strings. First, our home page will not be protected, it will be a public route, and later we can add some more routes here like short routes. So we can add a short route like this, so we can protect this as well, but I'm going to do this later when we start making our short pages. Okay, after that we are going to have the auth route. So this will be the routes for the login and register pages. So we can write that as well, export const auth routes, and inside that we are going to have /login and /register. So these two routes will be there. Now after that we are going to have our API auth routes. So we need to make that public as well, because if they are protected then we won't be able to actually authenticate user. So we need to make them public as well, but we are not going to add them over here because that would be confusing. So I'm going to add that here, export const API routes, API auth routes. Okay, and this will be a string. Okay, API /auth, and the reason that we are using string here because we have used all caps route here. So if our URL starts with this, then we are going to allow all the route. After that we are going to add our default route. Okay, so we can add export const default route. Okay, and this will be equals to our home page. So we have added these. Okay, so with this we have created all the routes here. Now let's save, and now let's go to our middleware, and here we are going to do some changes according to the routes. So let's say if the user wants to enter the public route, then we are going to allow that user. If the user wants to enter a protected route and is not logged in, then we are going to add those conditions here. Okay, so we are going to add those conditions here. So first let's import all the routes here. So import from routes. Okay, and here we can get API routes, auth route, default route, public route. Okay, so after this line we are going to add this matcher. You can copy this from my GitHub. Now we are going to do some changes in our auth function. So right now this works by default, but we are going to add the conditions in our auth function here. So let's remove this. Okay, and now we are going to change this auth function. So we can write export default. Okay, auth. Okay, now first we are going to get our next URL from here. So we can get const next URL from request. Okay, now let's console this next URL first. So next URL. Okay, so we have problem here, and the problem is coming from here. Okay, so this should be only auth. Now we can save this, refresh the page, and we have next URL something like this. So we have href this, origin this, protocol this, and other things. Okay, so first we need to get the next URL. After that we are going to check if the user is logged in or not. So we can check that as well. So we will get a boolean here, is logged in is equals to request dot auth, and this will actually give us some values. If I save this, as you can see, refresh the page, you'll see that this okay, and let's console this, and right now this will give some values. So let's save this. As you can see, this is giving us null value, but we want a boolean, so we can add double exclamatory mark, and now let's save, and as you can see, now we are getting false. So right now the user is not logged in. Okay, so we get that data. So now we are going to check for these routes here. So we are going to check if the API auth route is in the next URL or not, and similarly we are going to check for all of them here. So let's check const is API auth route. Okay, so is equals to next URL dot path name. So as you see here, in the next URL we have many fields here. One of the field is path name, so we are going to check for path name here. So path name here, so next URL dot path name dot starts with, so we want to check if our path name starts with this API auth route. Okay, and this will give us a boolean. Okay, now let's similarly do for our public route. So we can write is public route, and that would be equals to public routes dot sum. So we are going to use some method here, and we are going to check each route here. So we are going to compare the path name with our routes here one by one, and based on that we are going to get a boolean here, since we are using some method to confirm that if you are on the public route or some protected route. Okay, so we can add route here. Okay, we are going to add a condition here, so this will be there. Okay, so this is correct, but we are going to add one more condition here. If the route dot ends with, if the route is ending with this particular expression, then we are going to return this. Okay, so we are going to slice this, and we are going to remove these two expressions from the last side. Okay, so using this you will be able to actually, we are going to have this. So using this we are going to check the public routes, and now we can actually console this public route here. Is public and let's see is public route. Okay, so now I am on the home page. Refresh the page and you'll see that is public is true. Now if I want to go to the short, right now the page is not available, but it is still true. Okay, as you can see over here. Okay, now let's also console our next URL here. Now if I again write this, so this will be a particular short, so we are still going to get the true here. Now if I go somewhere else, let's say I'm going to go admin, it is going to give me false. Okay, so this is going to give me false, and based on that we can actually return our user to the home page if the user is not logged in. Okay, so we are going to do that later. Now after that we are also going to check for the auth routes. So we have auth routes here, /login and /register. So these two routes will be used for registering and logging the user. So these routes will be auth routes, so we are going to check them as well if we are on the auth route or not. So we can check if, so is auth route is equals to, so we can write auth routes dot include, and then we can pass the next URL dot path name. So we are going to compare this path name with our auth routes here, and if any of these matches with any of these routes, then we are going to get true value or we are going to get a false value. So this will also give us a boolean. Okay, so now if I console this as well here, auth route, let's say, and remove this and write is auth routes, and let's go to the login page, and as you can see the auth route is true here because we are on the login page. Same goes for register, as you can see, and if you are on the admin, admin, then we are going to see false here. So this is working as well. And now using these three we are going to add some conditions. Okay, and yeah, so first condition will be if is API route. So if we are on the API auth route, then we are not going to do anything and just return, because we have to allow this particular route for the user to be able to log in our application. Okay, so let's go here, and if I write API /auth / providers, you will see that we have provider GitHub. So for the Next.Auth to work, this particular route should always be public route or should be always accessible to the user, so that we can authenticate our user using this route. Okay, using Next.Auth. So we have to make this route always a public route. Okay, but I'm not calling that public route because this is an API route, so that's why I have made a different route here. Okay, so we should always allow this route. So now the second condition will be is auth route, and inside that first we are going to check if the user is already logged in. Okay, and if the user is already logged in, then we do not want the user to go to either login page or either registered page. So we are going to redirect the users to the default page. So we can write return response dot redirect new URL. We are going to create a new URL, pass the default route and next URL. Okay, so this way we are going to redirect the user to the home page. So right now we are not logged in, so we should be able to access this page. After that we are going to add one more condition, and this will be if the user is not logged in. Okay, so if the user is not logged in and is also not on the public route, then we are going to redirect the user to the login page. Okay, so something like this. We are going to remove this and we are going to redirect the user to the login page. Let's go here, and let's say if I want to access admin page, then this will actually redirect me to the login page like this. Okay, so this is working, And lastly, we can actually just return here, so we do not get any kind of errors. So this is all we have to do in the middleware, and we have checked all conditions here. Okay, now if you want, then you can add one more route here, that would be, let's say, search. Okay, and we can go to the search as well, as you can see. Okay, yeah, so now with that we are done with our route file, so close this. We are also done with our middleware file, close this. And now we have to work on the auth.config.ts file. Here we are going to actually authenticate our users, so we are going to now work on this. But before that, let's create our login and register page here. So in the app, we are going to make one more folder, two more folders, that would be login and second would be register. Okay, let's work on the register first. So page.tsx tsrfc, and we can write register page. Okay, and we are going to make one more component here, and that would be register form. Okay, and let's import that here. Now for register form, we are going to actually use form hook and also the form from sitecn. So let's go here, and we are going to install the form from sitecn. Okay, so and go to the form, and then we can install this. Okay, so I'm actually using this because I'm not going to actually focus on the front end part for the registration form or for the login form. They will be very simple. Let's import these things. Okay, and you have to make this client component, and we also need to install the input from sitecn, so we are going to do that later. And then we can go below again, not here, here, and we can copy these two things. Okay, now for the login, let's close this and this as well. So here first we are going to install the use form Zod resolver, and we are also going to make the register form schema here using Zod. So let's do this first. So I'm going to install npm I react hook form. So let's go here, write react hook form, go here, install this. Okay, then we're also going to install the Zod resolver. So it's Zod resolver from hook form. Okay, so install this as well. And lastly, we are going to install the Zod. Okay, so we can just write npm I Zod. Now let's import this use form from react hook, and this will be from, okay, so we have to install this, so we have to import this manually. So let's go above and we can write import from, so hook form slash resolver slash Zod, and then we can write here Zod resolver. Okay, and also let's import Z from Zod, and let's also install our input. So let's go here, input. Okay, and now we are going to make the form schema. So I'm going to make a folder here inside the source, and that would be schema, and inside this we are going to write register schema .ts, and here we can write export const register schema is equals to Z. So we have to first import Z from Zod, Okay, now here we can create the object z.object. Inside that, first we are going to have the name. Let's use the autocomplete here, or we can just write ourselves. So this will be the name. Then we are going to have email here, and then we are going to have password. Okay, so this will be the same from here, and we can write password must be at least 3 characters, not 3, maybe 8, and here 3 characters. Okay, now here you can actually use some regular expressions so that you can force the user to use some hard passwords, like using hashtag, underscore, or something like this. So you can do that as well. You can search for here regex password zod, something like this, and you'll see this, and then we can go below. Okay, and yeah, you can see that this is the expression. You can use this in your password, and if you're also collecting the phone number, then you can use this. This will force the user to use minimum 8 characters, at least 1 uppercase, 1 lowercase, 1 number, 1 special character. So something like this, you can go here, copy this, and we can use here. Okay, so yeah, here like this. So you can do this as well, but I'm actually going to use simple string. Okay, so this will be the schema for our register. Now we can save this, and we can import it here, import register schema. Okay, and then we can pass it here, and here we do not need the default values, so we can just remove this. Here as well, write register schema, and now we do not have any errors. Okay, now this function will do all the things for us, so we are going to work on this later. Now let's go again here, and we can copy some more things from here. So we can get this whole form and paste it here inside this div. Okay, now pass the name here instead of username. Okay, remove the description. This should be name, or you can have the username. This should be name as well, or you can write a Daw John, something like this. Then we are going to have 2 more fields. This is for name. We are going to have email and password. So this will be email, and here you can write example@gmail.com. okay, and here you can write password, and here as well. Okay, and here we can just write password and make the type to be password. Okay, and here you can make the type to be email. Okay, now let's save. Let's go to the register page. Register page. One sec. Okay, so we have to add return here, otherwise we will be redirected to the login page here. So now let's go to the register, and now as you can see, I am able to go to the register. So actually I forgot the return here, so do add that here. Okay, and now let's close this. Now let's add some more CSS here. So I'm just going to use card here. So copy this, install this card. Okay, import. Okay, and then we can use the cards. So let's go below. Now inside this div we can add card here. Okay, and let's go below and paste here. Now give this a class name of max w screen md my10 and mx auto. Okay, and let's give some padding here so we can add p4. Okay, so this is looking good. We have username, email, password, and we can add h1 tag here inside our card h1, or we can use card header or card title. So I'm going to add card header here inside that card title, and inside this we can write register yourself. Okay, and after that I can also use an image here. Below this add a div, and inside that I'm going to add an image. Remove this and write our image name here. So slash dribble.png. Width will be of 200 pixels and height will be of 150 pixels, and then we can add the alt value which will be Dribble logo. Let's save. So Dribble. Okay, so this is the logo. Let's make this in center. Class name flex item center, justify center. Okay, py1 or 2 maybe. Okay, now let's add a class name here. So after this we can add a class name of w 2x3 and h auto. Okay, so this is a little bit big, we can go with the 1x2, much better. Okay, so and also let's make this center, text center. Well, let's move this up and font medium, text to Excel, text pink of 800, much better. Okay, so now we can register our user using this. Now we are going to work on this function, but before that let's write some actions here. So we are going to use server action here instead of traditional APIs. So we can make a new folder here that would be actions, and make a file that would be register.ts. okay, now add use server here. After that we are going to import our Prisma. So import Prisma from root/app/prismadb. After that we are going to write export const register user. Okay, so this will be the function name. This will be an asynchronous function. It will take the values, and for the type we can import the register schema, and also import z, and also import the zod, and also import the zod here. Okay, so we can write z.infer type of register schema. Okay, now here we are going to check for the values first. So we are going to use safe pass method here first. So we can write const validate user data, and this will be equals to register schema dot safe pass the values here. Now based on this we are going to check if the validated user dot success. So if the success is false, that means the value that we are passing is not aligning with the schema, then we can just return, and here we can return error invalid type data. Okay, not data. And after that, if the values match with the schema of the register schema, then we can go ahead and use try and catch block here, and then we can register our user. So we can write const, And also before that we can check if we already have that user in our database or not using that email. So we can write const check user here, await Prisma dot user dot find unique, where email is validated user dot data dot email. Okay, so we can check here, and also we can actually get our data from the validated data. So we can do like this, and we can get our email, password and name. So now we can remove this and add an email, or we can just write it like this. Okay, now if we already have the user in our database, then we are going to return an error. Okay, so we can copy this from here, paste here, and say a user already exists with this data. Okay, after that, and then else we can register our data here. Okay, so const register user is equals to await Prisma dot user dot create, where create, not where, this will be data. So data will be email, password. Okay, so yeah, we need to add one more thing here in our schema, since we are going to use a credential provider here. So we need to add one more field here, that would be password. So password, this will be type of string, optional, because when we sign in from the Google or GitHub we do not get password, so we have to make this optional. Now let's open this and npx Prisma db push to add those changes here, and now we should be able to use the password. Okay, remove this, close this, and we can use password now, and then name. Okay, after that if you want to return, you can return a message, or you can return the user as well. So I'm just going to return a message, and here you can just return user was not created. Okay, so this was all for this function. Now we can go again to the register form and we can import that function. So here we can import register user. Why I'm not getting this? This should be s, there should be s here. So now if I write register user, I can get the function. Now you can directly use that function over here in the try and catch block, like this, await register user, and pass the values here, and then you can here, or let's make this async function, and you can add some alert here, or use the sonar toast from the setcn. So I'm going to use this. Okay, after this, copy this and go to the layout here, paste it here, and then we are going to add it here. Okay, let's go to the register form again, and here we can import the sonar port toast from sonar, and inside this function we can write const response here, const response, because this is giving us some kind of response, and based on that we can show the toast. So if the response dot message, so if we have the message, then we are going to toast dot success and response dot message, else we are going to have toast dot error and response dot error, and here we can just console the error. So that's it for this whole page. Now let's try to actually add the user here. So I'm going to go with invest.sm, this email and the password. The password will be hello12@. Let's submit, and also I want to redirect the user to the login page after this successful register. So we can use router here. So here import use router from next navigation, then write const router is equals to use router. Okay, and then here we can write router dot push a user to the login page if the registration is successful. So let's save. Okay, now let's submit. Okay, let's inspect this, and I have a toast here. So you can see I have a toast that user was not created. Let's see what is the problem here. So right now, as you can see, we do not know the cause of this problem, so we can remove this and we can throw the error here instead of passing custom object. Now let's save, and we should now get some real responses from behind. Okay, so as you can see, now I'm getting the response. Okay, the password is this, and okay, so I think the problem is just if I stop the server and start it again, that would solve the problem, I think, because this does happen sometime with me. Now let's submit. As you can see, I have been redirected to the login page. That means the user should be created here. As you can see, name, email and the password. Now I'm going to actually encrypt this password here. So we can use bcrypt.js, not bcrypt but bcrypt.js. So let's import that first. npm i bcrypt.js, and using this I'm going to encrypt my password. So we can write bcrypt from bcrypt.js. Okay, and let's also install the types here. And as you can see, now we do not have any others. Now let's encrypt this password. So just below here we can write const, or maybe not here, I can write inside this so that we can save some computation cost. Okay, so we can write const hash the password is equals to bcrypt dot hash, and then we can pass the string that would be the password and the salt value that could be 10. Okay, and now here we can pass the hash password, so we can write it like this. Okay, so this is a promise. We can await this, and now we should not have any problem. Now let's save. I'm going to actually delete the user and going to register again. And as you can see, I have been redirected to the login page, and I should now have my user, and now the password is encrypted, so that's good. Okay, so now we are able to successfully register our page. Now I'm going to make the page for login as well, and then after that we are going to work on the auth config file. Okay, so let's make this login page first. Okay, remove this and write login page. Now make one more component here, login form .tsx. okay, and tsrfc, and we are going to go here and we are going to copy some of these things from here. So I'm going to copy first the form. Okay, and I'm going to remove the name from here, because when now again go here, we can copy all this and then paste here. Now I'm going to remove this function and register schema. I'm going to go below here In the schema, I'm going to make one more schema that would be login schema.ts, and we can just copy this from here, paste here, change the name to the login schema, remove the name from here, and that's it. Okay, so close this, and now here we can import login schema. Okay, and then here we are going to create the form. So let's go again here, you can copy this and then paste here. Now to change all of this, I can use a shortcut key. In Mac this is Option, Command and F, and I think in the Windows this will be Alt, Control and F, I think, maybe. So we can just copy this, paste here, and then we can copy this and paste here and press enter, and this will replace all of them. Now we can remove this from here because we are going to actually sign in the user from Next-Auth. So we can remove all that, and yeah, this should be it. Okay, now let's save this and go back here, and now we have a login page. Let's go here, add the login form. So this is the login form. I'm going to go again here, change this to login. I'm going to add two more buttons here, so copy this and paste here and duplicate this. I think this should be outside this form. Okay, make this w full, so class name w full. Okay, and here as well class name w full. Okay, now we are going to write here sign in with Google, and this will be sign in with GitHub. Okay, now PG color, or you can make this destructive, so variant will be destructive, and you can make this variant to be maybe outline, something like this. We can add a div here, add a class name of empty3 and a space y3. Okay, so this is how it is going to look now. So with this done, now we can actually go to the auth.config file here, and then we can start working on this. Okay, so first we are going to add the credential provider here. So let's import the first Google provider here, Google, and then credentials. Okay, this will be from credentials. Okay, so now here with GitHub we can add Google and then credentials. Okay, so in the credentials we are going to use authorize function, so we can write async authorize, and the argument will be credentials. Now inside this function, now let's return null here, so we do not get this error. After this we are going to first validate our credentials here, so I'm going to import the login schema, import login schema. So now we can write const validate data is equals to login schema dot save paths, and pass the credentials here. After that, if this is not true, so if validated data dot success is false, then we are going to simply return null over here. Otherwise we are going to continue, and we can get the email and password from the data. After that we can get the user from our database, so we can import the Prisma first, root/app/prismadb. Okay, and we can get our user from email. Now after that we can check if we have the user. So we are going to check for the user, and also we are going to check if we have the password in the user or not. So if we do not find the password in the user, then that means the user have used the auth method previously, and now we are not going to allow the user to use credentials method to actually sign in our application. Okay, so we are just going to return null over here. Okay, and after that we are going to compare our password. So we can write const password match, and this will be equals to await. Let's import the bcrypt here. So import bcrypt from bcrypt.js, and here we can write bcrypt dot compare. Okay, pass the password which we are getting from the front end and the user dot password. Okay, after that if the password match is true, then we can just return our user over here, and that way we are going to authenticate our user. Okay, so yeah, I think this is enough for testing our login functionality. Okay, so let's save this. I'm going to refresh this again. I'm going to use the email and the password. Okay, so I need to add the sign in function here. So let's go to login schema, login form, import the sign in function. So import sign in from Next-Auth/React. Okay, and this should be like this. Okay, and now we can use this function over here. Okay, so we can use sign in, and type will be credentials, and then pass the data. And okay, after that let's go here, fill this form again. Okay, hello 1 2 3 @ and now click on the submit, and as you can see I have been redirected to the home page. That means I am logged in now. So we can actually try to go to the login again, and as you can see I am being redirected to the home page again. That means I am logged in. Okay, so now let's go here and let's console our session here. So I'm going to go to the home page here, and I'm going to, so here we can import the session. So I'm going to write this from /auth, and from the auth we can get auth and sign in and sign out. Now from auth let's get our session. So we can write const session is equals to await auth. Okay, and let's console our session here. So here as you can see we should have our session, username, finvest.sm, email, image null, and the expires. Okay, so we have this as our session. Let's add it here as well so that we can see. So okay, so I think we have to stringify this. So I'm going to write this as json.stringify and then pass it here. Okay, so now as you can see we have our session as this. Now remove the user from here and we should have our whole session. So this is the session which we are getting from the Next-Auth. Okay, so this way you can get the session in your server component. Right now as you can see I am on the server component. Now if you want to get the server in your client component, then you have to use the Next-Auth here. So use client. Okay, and you have to comment this out, this one as well, this as well, this as well, and then we are going to import the use session from Next-Auth/React, and from here you can import the use session, and then here we can write const session is equals to use session, and then we can console the session and we can render that here as well. So session, and And also let's stringify this, so we can json.stringify and pass this here. Okay, so now as you can see, okay, so we have to remove the async from here. Okay, oh, first we need to wrap our layout in session provider. So let's go to the layout, and here we can import the session provider. So this will help us to use the sessions in our client components. So cut it from here, paste here, save this, and now we should have the session. As you can see, we have session from our page, which is right now a client component. So we are getting this on the client component. We have data. Inside data we have user, and this is the user's data. Then expire set status, which is authenticated right now. So this is how you can get the session on your client component, and this is how you can get the session on your server components. Okay, now here as you can see, in the data for the user we have only name, email and image. Now I also want the ID of the user here, because we're going to use the user's ID at many places. So I also need the ID of the user, but we do not have right now. And for that we are going to go to the auth.ts file, and here we are going to add some callbacks here. So just here we are going to add the callbacks. Okay, and add a comma here. So you can go to the Next.auth documentation, Next-Auth. Okay, let's go to the documentations, and here you can search for callbacks. So now here as you can see, we have callbacks. Now there is different kind of callbacks here. First is sign in. So when a user sign in, then this callbacks run, and after that we have some other callbacks like redirect, JWT and session. Now the only callbacks that we are going to use here is the JWT callback and the session callback. So using these two, we will add some more data to our user data in our session. Okay, so let's go again here. Now we can write here async JWT. Inside that we have token and user, and here you have to return the token first so that we can remove this error. After that, let's console our token as well. Okay, so let's see what kind of data we have over here. Let's go here, refresh the page, and as you can see in the token, let's write it as well here, token. Okay, so in the token I have the name, email, picture, sub. Sub is actually the ID of our user, which we are getting from the database. So as you can see here, this is the ID of our user and this is the sub. And now we are going to pass this to the session. Okay, so if I add the session here as well, let me add that as well. So async session. Okay, now here we are going to have token and the session. Okay, and I'm going to return the session here. Then I'm going to console the session as well, so that you can see a little bit more what I'm talking about. So let's refresh this, not this one, this one. Okay, now here as you can see in the token we have name, email and subfield, which is actually ID of the user, and in the session we have user, in which we have name, email and image. Now here I want the sub to be passed to the session so that we can use it in our application. Okay, so for that we can actually write it like this. So we are not going to do anything in our token, we're just going to return the token, and after that we have our token over here. So we are going to change something in our session object. Okay, so we can write our session like this. So if the session dot user exists and also the token dot sub exist, so we need these two conditions to be true, Then we are going to add session.user.id, and this will be equals to token.sub. So we have added one more field in our session, and that's it. Now if I save this and refresh it again, as you can see, now I'm getting my ID over here. So we have successfully added the user ID in our session like this, okay, and as you can see, I'm getting my ID over here. Now you can add some more fields over here from the database. Right now we only need the ID, but if you want to add the role based authorization here, so you will have the role field in the database, which you can actually get it here. So inside the JW function, you can get the existing user. So we can get user here is equals to await Prisma dot user dot find unique, and here you can pass where, and where will be ID token dot sub. Okay, so using this you can get the existing user, and after that from the existing user you can get any fields. Let's say existing user has a role field. Okay, so we can create one more field inside our token like this, token dot role, and this will be equals to existing user dot role, and then we can actually pass this here. So let's say the value of this can be admin. Okay, and after that, now if I save this, refresh the page, you'll see that in my token I have one more field which is role, and the value is admin, which I am getting from the user. Now I have passed that to the token. Now from the token I'm going to pass it to session, so I can write it like this. Okay, and now I can save. Right now this is giving me TypeScript error, but you can ignore this. So let's refresh this, and you can see that I have one more field here which is role, which is admin, which I'm getting from the database. So you can add some more fields to the session if you want to using this method. Okay, now if you want to solve this problem, you have to actually make one more file over here. So let's say inside the source we have to make one more file, that would be next-auth.d.ts. this will be the type file, and inside that we can first import the Next-Auth, and we can also import the default session. Okay, now we are going to change the session type here, so we can declare module Next-Auth. Okay, and inside this we are going to define the interface for session. Okay, so in the session we are going to have the user. So this user will have all the properties that it is having right now over here. So we can write as write default session and user. So using this, now the session have user, in which the user right now have all the default fields that is right now it has here. Okay, now if you want to add some more fields here, you can just write like this, role, and this will be a type of string. And now with this, the type problem will be solved. Now we have some more problem here. It is saying that this variable is type of string, but the value that we are providing here, so we have to exert it here that the value that we are providing is type of string. Okay, so this way you can solve this problem. And now as you can see, we have added one more type in a session. Now let's save this, and it will still work in the same way. And now we have our session in which we have the role and everything else. Okay, so yeah, in this way you can pass more fields here using the session and the JWT callbacks. Okay, now in our case there is not going to be any role field here, so we can just remove this, and also we can remove the consoles, and we can remove this as well. Okay, so yeah, there's nothing we have to do now here. We can just save this, and with this, Okay, so now with this we are done with our credentials provider. Now we are going to work on the GitHub and Google providers. So let's go to auth.config.ts. Inside the GitHub we have to provide the client ID, okay, which we are going to get it from our env files. So process.env.github client ID, okay, and then we are going to have secret ID here, client secret, and we can just copy this, paste here, and this would be GitHub client secret, okay. Similarly we can do for the Google. Now let's add these variables in our env file. So copy this from here. We already have for Google, so we are going to add for the GitHub, okay. So and this will be for GitHub, okay, and now we are going to get these value. So go to your GitHub and then go to the settings. So here is the settings. Go to the developer setting, auth apps, okay. I already have one app, so I'm going to create one more app here, and that would be Dribbble, okay. Homepage URL will be http://localhost 3000, okay. And after that we need the authorized callback URL. So for that you can go to API/auth/providers, and here you will see the callback for GitHub. So you need to copy this and paste here, and then make your application. So register application, and you'll get your client ID, and then you can generate your secret ID here. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here, and then we are going to go again, and I'm going to generate a new client ID and going to copy this as well and paste it here, okay. So this will be for GitHub, and after that we are going to add the Google. So for the Google you have to go to the Google Cloud Console. The URL will be console.cloud.google. Open this, and then you can select a project or you can create a new project. I'm going to create a new project here, and the project name will be Dribble YT, okay, and then create. Now open this newly created project, okay, and go to the API and services, and after that go to the OAuth consent screen, okay. Now here choose external. This way anyone with the Gmail ID can register to our application. Give name to our application, that would be Dribble YT, okay. And supported, I'm going to give my email here, and after that give your email. So this will be for developers contact email, and then we can just save and continue, and again save and continue, and back to the dashboard. Okay, so now this is done. Now we can go to the credentials. Now we are going to create new credentials. So we are going to create OAuth client ID. So click on this. Application type will be web application. In the authorized JavaScript origin, we can write http://localhost 3000. Do not add a slash sign at the end. After that we need a redirect URL, so we can go here and copy the callback URL from Google and then add it here, okay. After that create, and as you can see now we have client ID and secret ID. We can just copy this and let's paste it here, okay. So these two are okay. So now we have all the IDs here. Now we can go to the login form, and here we can add on click, and this will sign in, and since we are passing some values in our sign in, so we can write it like this. This will be Google sign in. Okay, and now copy this, paste it here, and this will be GitHub sign in. Okay, and now let's go to the home page, and we are going to add a sign out button here so that we can sign out from our application, so that we can test those out. So I'm going to get sign out. Here we can write sign out, on click sign out. Okay, now let's save, and I think we can write it like this. Okay, so now let's save and go back here, go to the home page, and let's sign out now. Okay, and since we are on the home page, we are not going to be redirected to the login page. So now this is the login page. Let's try with the Google first. Okay, so I'm getting this window because I used same email that I have already in my database here. Okay, so I'm just going to delete this. Okay, and I'm going to go back to my home page. Okay, let's sign out. So I'm already signed out. Okay, now let's again go to the login page, and this time I'm going to use different so now as you can see, now I am signed in my application, and this is the session that I am getting here. So I have the user name, email, image. So this time we are going to get the image ID as well. Okay, so the Google is working. Now let's again sign out, and now we are going to try with the GitHub. Sign in, and now we are going to authorize this, and as you can see, I am now logged in my application. This is the name, email, image, and the ID. So GitHub provider is also working. Okay, so with this we are actually done with our authentication part. We have successfully set up our credentials, Google and GitHub provider. So now a user can log in our application using any of those credentials. Okay, so for now this is enough. Now I'm going to actually again start working on our upload section. Okay, so now as I told you, I need to create one more file here so that we can upload our images to the Cloudinary. Okay, so we are going to make that function here, and this will be called as Cloudinary. First I'm going to import XCS from XCS, so we are going to use XCS here, and we need to install this. So npm I XCS. After that we are going to define the function which will upload our files. So we can write export const upload image, or we can upload media. Okay, is equals to, this will be a asynchronous function. This will take form data, and which will be a type of form data, and this will return a promise. Okay, in which we are going to actually return the URL from our Cloudinary. Okay, like this. Now inside this function we are going to get the file from our form data. So file is equals to form data dot get, and then we are going to get the file here and as file, and after that we are going to append the upload present in our form data. So upload present, we are going to get this from Cloudinary. Okay, so we are going to append this here, upload present, and then we can get the value from our env file. After that we are going to check if we have file or not. If we do not have the file, then we are going to just throw an error that no file is provided, and then we are going to define a Cloudinary URL. So using this URL we are going to upload our data. So this will be the API Cloudinary URL. So Cloudinary upload URL. So the Cloudinary URL will not be constant here, because based on the file type we are going to use different kind of URL. So if the file is image, then we are going to use the upload URL for image, and for videos we are going to use the video URL. Okay, and if you are getting some other kind of files, then we are not going to actually upload that file to the Cloudinary. Okay, so we can get the file type here. Const file type is equals to file dot type dot split, and we are going to get the first value. After that we are going to check upon this. So if the file type is equals to image, then we are going to use this URL, Cloudinary URL. Before this we have to add https colon slash slash API dot cloudinary dot com v1 underscore 1. Okay, and then slash. So we have to add this here. After that we can write else if the file type is equals to video, then we are going to use different URL, which will be actually, but only thing we are going to change here is the video. And else we are going to throw a new error, that unsupported file type. And after that we are going to upload this file to this endpoint. So we can use XCS here. So use try and catch. Inside that we can write const response is equals to await XCS dot post method. Inside that pass the Cloudinary URL, and then form data, and then headers. Okay, so inside headers we are going to pass the content type, which will be multipart slash form data. After that we are going to return URL, which will be response dot data dot URL. Okay, we are going to console error uploading to Cloudinary, and then we can pass the error here. Okay, so error, and after that we can also throw that error. So this will be it for this function. Now let's go to the Cloudinary here. So we can go to the Cloudinary. After you sign in, go to the settings and then account. So from here we are going to get two things. First will be this upload preset, okay, and then second will be this Cloudinary upload URL. Okay, so let's go to the settings, then go to the upload preset, and from here you are going to get the upload preset. Okay, so you can create upload preset from here and keep this unassigned, because we want that anyone can actually upload to this Cloudinary. Okay, so we want that, so keep this unassigned. Okay, and after you created this you will get something like this. We can use any of this. I'm going to use this key, so I'm going to copy this. I'm going to env.local, paste it here, and after this let's get our cloud URL, or more specifically we are going to get the cloud name here. So here we say cloud name in the Cloudinary. So go to the programming, get started, and here you will see your cloud name. So cloud name for my account is this. I can just copy this and then go to here and paste it here. Now I'm going to go here and get these variables. So next public Cloudinary upload preset, which will be this, and then next public Cloudinary upload URL, which will be this. Okay, so these two keys. Now let's save. So we are done with this function. Now let's close this, and now we are going to go inside the uploads and in the component, and we are going to go to the media component and in the first component. Okay, so let's see if we have uploaded our file here. So as you can see, we have the handle file. So here we are going to use this update entry, but After that, we are going to start uploading our file to the Cloudinary, and after we get our new URL, we are going to update this again. Okay, so let's get our function here, import upload media, and then we can write const. Okay, and this will be inside try and catch, so we can write const await response is equals to await upload media, and this requires form data, so we are going to create a form data here. So we can write const form data is equals to new form data. Okay, and after that we are going to append the file in it, so we can write form data dot append file, and then pass the file here, then pass the form data here. Okay, after that we are going to get a response. So in the response we are going to get URL, so I'm going to destructure it here, and this will be a type of string. Now after that I'm going to update my entry here. Okay, and here I'm going to pass the URL. If you find any error, we can just console the error. So error uploading file, and then pass the error. Okay, so let's test this out first, and then we can continue working on this. So refresh this. I'm going to upload this image, and now let's open our sidebar menu, remove the image. Okay, and now I'm going to upload this again, because earlier when we uploaded that time we did not actually use this function, we actually used the sidebar menu function. So for using this function we have to upload from here. Okay, so we have upload. Okay, so we have a problem here, and as you can see this domain is not found here, and the problem is that we should use dot here instead of slash. Okay, and now this should solve the problem. So now let's refresh this, and I'm going to upload this again. Then I'm going to remove this image and going to upload this again, so that we can use this function. Okay, let's go to the first media, and now we have entries here. As you can see, now we have the content, which is the Cloudinary URL. So if I copy this and paste here, you can see this is the image that we are getting from the Cloudinary. Okay, so this is working. Refresh this, and this time I'm going to use a video over here. So this will be the video. I'm going to remove this video, and now let's upload the video. Why I'm not able to choose the video? Let's cancel this. Okay, so I am able to add the video from here. As you can see, we can choose this, but when I try to upload this from here, they are not available. Okay, so let's go to the first media and let's check here. Okay, so right now we are only allowing the image, and we should be allowing both images and videos. So based on the file type, so based on the type, if this is equals to image, then we are going to allow image. So otherwise we are going to allow video. Okay, now we should not have any problems. Okay, as you can see, now when I click on this, only the videos are available. So now let's upload this. Let's click on this. So we have entries here, and as you can see, now we have a new content. Type is video, and this is the video URL. Okay, so this is working as well. Now we can just use these functions everywhere. So apart from this, we are also going to use in the gallery component. So we can just copy this, go to the gallery component, and here after this update entry function, we are going to run a new for loop Okay, so for let I is equals to 0 and I less than gallery object dot length, and the last condition will be I plus plus, so we are going to increment the value of I by 1. After that we are going to get the file first. From files and I pass the I value, then use the try and catch here, and then we are going to get the form data. So I'm just going to actually paste it here, remove this update entry from here. I'm going to import this function, and after this I'm going to make this a asynchronous function. Let's create the form data here. So const form data is equals to new form data. Okay, and then form data dot append file and pass the file. Okay, and after this we are actually going to do one change here. Okay, so we are going to create one more file object here. So we can write const new file object. Okay, and this will be a type of gallery data array, and this will be equals to empty array initially. Okay, we are actually going to push inside the new file data, sorry, new file object here, and then we are going to update our entries here. So, and instead of passing the gallery object like this, we are going to get all the gallery object first, so the gallery objects, and then we are going to add our new file object. Okay, so this way we are going to keep the previous data, and then we are going to actually add our new data here. After that we can remove this, sorry, this was not going to be used here. Instead of that we are going to use new file object dot I dot url is equals to url, and then we are going to get the updated new file object. So we can write const updated new file object, and this will be equals to first get all the gallery object here, and then we can in the last add our new file object, and then we can of course update our entry. So update entry, pass the entry id and json dot stringify. Okay, and pass the updated new file object. Okay, and here we can console our error, and let's also pass the extra 1 and extra 2 from the previous data so that we do not lose those data over here. Okay, so we can write it like this: const entry data is equals to get entry. Okay, so we already have the data, we can just go here and add that here. So entry data dot extra 1. Okay, so extra 1 and entry data dot extra 2, and we can do the same over here. Okay, now let's save this and try this as well. So let's go below, and here we are going to add a new component, that would be gallery component. Let's choose these 4 pictures. Okay, and we have, okay, so we are not actually updating anything right now. Let's see what is the problem here. Okay, so I was able to solve the problem, and the problem was coming from here. Actually, since this function is a synchronous function and we are using loops here, so because of that we were doing some task here and there, so there was some mismatching there. So what I did here, instead of taking the length of object here, I have taken the length of file array. So I have made a separate file array here as I did over here. So as you can see here, I have created a array from the files and then I have looped over that. Similarly, I have done here as well. I have created a file array here, then loop over that to store our local URLs. Then we have updated our entries. After that, using the same file array, we are going to get length of the files, okay, and then we are going to loop over that to upload the files, and after that we are going to update our entries, okay. So previously what was happening here, as you can see here, we have here a gallery object, okay, and this gallery object we are getting from our data here, okay. So here as you can see, after updating our entries, we are immediately getting the entry data, and from entry data we are getting the object. So this is taking some time, and because of that our length of this gallery object is coming to be 0, okay, and that is why we are not actually running this loop. But I have changed this condition from gallery object to file array.length. Now we can save this and go back here, refresh the page. Let's add this image for now, and in the gallery component we can choose these 3 images, okay. I'm going to remove this, and now you can see that now files are uploading, okay. Now let's open the entries here, and as you can see, now in the entries in the gallery component we have our uploaded URLs. So let's move to the next component, which is image component. Let's go above and we are going to do the same here. So let's go to the first media, and then we can copy this and paste here. Import the upload media and create the form data. So again go here and create the form data. Now save this and let's test this out as well. So I'm going to add an image component here and going to add this image. Okay, so now so let's remove this and let's click on something. So I'm going to click on this, and I have 4 entries here. Last one is image, and as you can see now the content is our Cloudinary URL. So this is also working. Next component is our other media component. So let's go above again. Now this is also handling only one file, so we can just go here, copy this and paste here, okay. Import the upload media, and now we have to pass the selected entry ID. Let's go again and copy the form data and add it here. After that update entry small, pass the extra 1 and extra 2, okay. So we can pass entry data dot extra 1 and extra 2, and we can do the same for image and first media, so that we do not lose any kind of data, okay. After this, let's go to our video component, and this will be same as well. So we can just copy this and paste here, get our upload media function and the form data. Okay, so this is done as well. Now I'm going to check the other media and video component. So let's first check our video component. Okay, so I'm going to add a video here. Okay, so I should have some data. So I'm going to click on this text component, and now we have 5 datas here. So last one is video, and this also has our Cloudinary URL. Now we are going to check other media. So the other media is actually this component. Okay, so let's remove this, and now we are going to upload maybe this image. And now let's click on the text component so that we can get our entries here. So first one is the image, and this is the new URL. Let me copy this, and as you can see, this is the image that I just uploaded. So this is also working. Now we can check for videos as well. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to change the video from this to this, maybe this one, and this time this video is quite large. So let's click on the text component. Yeah, and now as you can see, now we have another URL for the video component. Let's copy this and paste here. So as you can see, this is the same video that I have just uploaded now. Okay, so let's close this. This is also working. Now what we have to change here, let's go to the gallery menu. We do not need to change anything since we are not using the handle file function here. Then secondary gallery. So here as you can see, we are changing our file, and this is actually secondary gallery. So let's go to the gallery, and this is the secondary gallery. Okay, so here we are changing the media. Okay, so let's go to the first media. We can copy this and go to the secondary gallery. Just below this we can add our try and catch. After that we can also get our form data. Okay, now import our upload media function, and here we are not going to update the entry directly. Instead we are going to change the media, and we are going to pass the URL. Let's make this local URL. Same with this one. Okay, and I think everything should be same. Here I'm going to add entry data dot extra one and entry data dot extra 2. So if you do not find these values whenever I'm updating some entries, then you should add them yourself, because by not adding them here we are going to lose some data like large or small value or the alt value of an image. Okay, so please keep that in mind, and if you find that I have not used these two parameters somewhere, then you can add that yourself. Okay, now let's save and let's see if this is working or not. Okay, so now I'm going to click on this slide number 1. I'm going to change this to let's say this image. Now let's go here and check the image URL. As you can see, the image URL is the Cloudinary URL. So this is also working, and in the entries you can also see that I have selected that slide which have URL of Cloudinary. Okay, so this is also working now. Now let's go to the sidebar menu, and I don't think here we have to add anything. And after that we have to go to the upload component, and here we are going to add that function again. Okay, so first media, update and copy this, go to the upload component. After this we are going to use try and catch here, get the upload media, create the form data. So let's go above, we are going to create the form data here. After that we are going to get the update entry function. So let's go above and add the update entry function, and now we have to pass the ID here. So this time we do not have the selected entry ID. We have our ID over here. Okay, so this is good. Now we are also going to get our entry here. So get entry, and we can get our entry here. Const entry data is equals to get entry and pass this ID. Okay, not here, we can get our entry here. Okay, after this we can just copy this again and paste it here just below the entry. Okay, and after doing all these things, then we are going to add the editor. So now the editor will take some time to actually appear. Okay, so now let's save, refresh the page. Okay, now let's upload this one, and as you can see the editor is not showing up, but it will show up later. So let's wait. Right now only one. So now we have two entries here, so now we have our editor as well. Okay, so this takes some time. So for that case we can actually cut it from here, and we can add it here so that we do not have to wait much. Okay, now let's again refresh this, and now we should get our editor right away. Okay, and now let's get this element, and as you can see the URL is Cloudinary URL. So this is working. So with that we have added the upload media function everywhere. Okay, and we are also getting the datas. Now what we have to do, we have all the data, we have also authenticated our user. Now we are going to actually make the data. So now for that we have to go to the tag component, and here we have to write our function. Okay, so now here first we are going to get our entries here. So we can write const is equals to use upload data store, and from this we are going to get our entries. After that we are also going to get our editor here, so we can write const is equals to use editor store, and then we can get editor. Then we are going to get the title here. So I think I have stored my title somewhere here. Let's go to the upload component, and here, okay, so the title is over here. I'm going to make one more hook so that I can store my title in this hook, and I can then get it here. Okay, so now let's go here, and I'm going to make one more file that would be use title.ts, and then import the create method from Zustent, then interface title store. We are going to have title string and set title, and this will be a function which will return nothing, and we are going to pass the value which will be a type of string. Okay, now let's go below. We can write export const use title store. Okay, create, pass the title store type, set. Okay, inside that title is empty string and set title is this. Now let's save. Let's go to the upload component. We can remove this, and we can write const is equals to use title store, and we can get set title and title. Set title, because I think I have made a mistake. Title. Okay, let's go above, and this should be title. Okay, so now let's go to the tag component. Let's get that title, so we can write const use title store. Now inside the save short function, First I'm going to get the value of the content of the editor. Okay, so for that I have to map over the entries for each entry. If entry, sorry, not entries, this should be entry dot type. So if this is equals to text, then I'm going to get the editor first. So we can write const editor is equals to get editor and pass the entry dot id. And after that, if we find the editor here, then I'm going to update entry. So let's get that function from here. Update entry dot id, then editor dot get html. After that, we are also going to provide extra 1 and extra 2, so we can get that here const. Let's first get the function get entry data is equals to get entry and entry dot id. Okay, and we can pass entry data, not entries, entry data dot extra 1 and entry data dot extra 2. And in this way we will be able to get the content of our text component in our entries. Okay, now after that we are going to get the selected option value, so we can write const selected option value, selected option, and if I have this I can get the selected option dot value, otherwise an empty string. And now I'm going to create a data that I'm going to send, so we can write const data to send, and this will be an object. First will be title, then entries, then category, and this will be selected option value. Okay, now after that we are also going to pass the tags array. Let's get from here. Okay, and now before writing any further, I'm going to create a function here inside actions. So this will be a server action, and that would be upload file name. So inside that I'm going to first define that function which will make our short in the database. So first this will be use server, then import Prisma from root/app/prismadb. After that I'm going to import auth from root/auth. So this will be auth. Okay, now here I'm going to first define the type. So like we have defined over here in the hook upload data, this is the type of our upload data. I'm just going to copy this, or we can just export this from here. Okay, and go to the upload.ts. I'm going to import that interface. So I'm going to import upload data, let's say type. Now let's go here, upload data type, and after that I'm going to write the function export const. Now inside this we are going to pass the values. Okay, and this will be a type of short type. Okay, now let's define this type here, interface. Okay, short type. Now what we have here, we can just copy this, paste it here, remove this part. This will be a string, this will be an array of string, this will be upload data type, and this will be a string. Okay, so this will be the type that we are going to pass here. Now first we are going to check for the user, so we can write const session is equals to await auth, and if the session dot user is not available, then we are going to just return our function from here, and if we do have the user, then we are going to go ahead and check for if we have the title value.title. So let's destructure the values here. Const is equals to values. Now I can destructure them here. Okay, now we are going to check if we have title and entries or not. If we have both of them, then we are going to go ahead and create new short. So I'm going to use try and catch block here. Okay, now I'm going to write const new short is equals to await prisma dot. Okay, so I have to first make the model here. So let's go to the schema dot prisma and let's add those models here. So first here we are going to have items. Okay, so items is basically our entries here. So we are going to have IDs here, which we are going to auto generate. Let's close this one. After that we are going to have type, which will be a type of string, then content, and this will be a type of string, and then we are going to have extra 1, which will be a type of string, and extra 2, and this will be type of string. Then we are going to have upload ID. So let's make that first here. So another model will be upload, and inside that we are going to first have our ID, then created at. Okay, and this will be equals to date time, and the default value will be now. Okay, after that we are going to have updated at date time, and then we are going to add updated at. Then we are going to have title, which will be a type of string. Then we are going to have tags, which will be a string array. Then we are going to have allow feedback. So this is going to be used when we start working on our rendering part. So this will be boolean and optional, and default will be true. Okay, and also we are going to have items here. So we are going to have items, type will be items. Okay, so now let's make the relation here. So I can add the upload ID here, upload ID, which will be a type of string, and then I can add the relation upload, add the relation here. So fields will be upload ID. Okay, and the reference will be ID, on delete cascade. Okay, now let's go below. Again we are going to continue adding in the upload. So after that we are going to have user ID. Okay, and this will be a type of string. Then we are going to add the relation here. So user will be equals to user relation, fields will be user ID, and reference will be ID, on delete cascade. Okay, and now let's add the uploads here. So we can write uploads, and then we can write upload array. After that we are going to have categories, so we have to make the category as well. So let's add them first here. So we are going to have category ID, which will be a type of string, then category. Okay, and let's make that model here, category. We are going to have ID here, name, and upload, and this will be upload. Okay, Now we can add the category here, add a relation of fields will be category ID and the reference will be ID. Okay, so this will be all for the model. Now we can push this to database. So npx Prisma db push. Okay, so now this is done. Now we can go to the upload.ts and we can get the upload.create, and inside that we are going to pass the data. So first we are going to have the title. Now after that we are going to have items. Okay, and this will be equals to entries. And now as you can see here, this is giving us an error, and the reason is that right now this entry does not contain upload ID. Okay, and also we are trying to make the items here with this upload model. Okay, so we cannot actually directly add the entries over here. We have to use the create method inside our items, and this will be equals to entries dot map. We are going to use map here. Okay, and we are going to get entry, and the type of entry will be upload data type. Okay, after this, inside this map function, we can get a type which will be entry type, then content which will be entry dot content, then extra one which will be entry dot extra one, and then extra 2 which will be entry dot extra 2. Now after that we are going to add the category ID. Okay, so this should be category ID and this as well, and after that add the tags here which will be tag array, and lastly user ID which will be session dot user dot id. Now we have error here which is saying that the content we are getting from here, so from the entries we have a content here and the content can be null, but in our database the content is actually not null, so we can actually do something like this. And now what we're saying that here is that the user ID should be confirmed, so we can get our user ID here, session dot user dot id. Now we can just remove this, and then we can add a condition. If the user ID is not present, then we are going to return. Okay, and this will solve the problem. And after that we can return success true. Okay, and here we can return, and also one more thing, error null. Okay, and here we can again return success false and error which will be error. Now let's save, and this is all we have to do in our function. Now let's go to our tag component, and here we can use try and catch block. Okay, we can add const response is equals to await make upload, and then we can pass the data to send, and let's make this a asynchronous function. And to fix this problem we have to actually change this to category ID. Okay, and after that if the response dot success is there, then we are going to router dot push, so we have to import the router here, import use router const router is equals to use router, and then I can write here router dot push to the home page. We can use the toast here, so we can get the toast and and here we can write error creating the short. Okay, and here we can add the same toast here, and also we can console the error. So this should be error and pass the error. Okay, and right now this will still not work because we have to add the categories here. So I'm going to make one more function here, that would be category.ts, and I'm just going to paste this code here, which you can copy that from my GitHub. Now here I'm just making some categories here. Okay, so yeah, nothing special. Yeah, now we are going to make the categories here. So I'm going to go on the let's say on the home page, and I'm going to make a function here. So we can add const make categories is equals to like this, and this will be asynchronous function. Now we can write await make categories. Okay, and we can remove these, and we can then add a button. On clicking that, we are going to make the categories, and this should not be here. Actually our function is different, so let's go again here, and in the category the name is add categories. So let's go again to the page.tsx, add categories. Okay, now let's save, go to the home page. Okay, and make. Click on this, and here we should not get any kind of error. We are getting error. Let's go here. So for this error to solve, you just need to stop the server, run it again, refresh the page, and I think this should solve the problem. So I'm just going to make the categories here. So now we do not have any kind of error. Let's go to the database, refresh it. We have some categories here. Okay, now I can go to again to the tag component, and here we are actually using these options. I'm going to remove these. I'm going to remove them. Okay, and now I'm going to use effect here, and inside that we can write a function. So in the dependency we are going to write nothing because this is going to run only one time. Now we can write const fetch categories, and this will be a asynchronous function. Now inside that we can write const, or we can write try and catch. Inside that write const response is equals to await get all categories, and then we are going to set it here. So we can write const categories. Okay, set categories is equals to use state, type will be value, which will be a type of string, and then label, which will be a type of string as well, and this will be an array of object. Initially the value will be empty array. Okay, now let's call this function here, and then we can console the error, and here we can check if, so we have the response directly, so we can just set categories and pass the response. Now we can go below and use the categories here. Okay, and I think that should be it. Now let's save, go back to the browser, let's go to the uploads, and now I'm going to make a short here. Okay, so let's upload a file here. This is 11th part of series. Okay, so in the entries we have all the Cloudinary URLs, and in the text we do not have any content. Now let's continue. We are going to have some categories here. Let's go and choose web design. I think we should have web design something. So yeah, and we can write web development. Okay, and I should also add a loader here, which I am going to add that later. So now let's click on save. Okay, and we have a problem here. So only a plain object can be passed to a client component from server component. So let's remove this for now, and I'm going to the make upload function, and actually I'm not going to return anything. I'm just going to console the error here. Okay, now let's go again here. We already have the web design and everything else. Now I can just save this. Okay, so we are not going to see anything here, and we have some problem. Upload category ID. So the problem was coming from here. Earlier it was categories.name for the value, and here we are using that value. Okay, as you can see here. Where does it go? So here, as you can see, here we are using the value, and the value is actually name. So, and the name is not id, so because of that we are getting that error. So now we can remove this, and we can write category.id instead of name, and that should solve the problem. And also I have done some changes here. Okay, so instead of updating our entries here, I'm just going to make a new constant, a variable, and then I'm going to assign the updated entries to this variable, and then I'm going to pass it here. Okay, so this way we are not going to get content null in any case. Okay, in the previous way, which was this. Okay, so it was something like this. So in this way we can sometime have content null for the text component. So that's why I'm going to write it like this. I'm going to use map here, and then I'm going to return the entry here. So that is better way to handle our entries and also get the content from our editor to the entries, and this way we can get our content here. Okay, so now let's save this, and also let's use router here to push the user to the home page after we are done. Okay, now let's save and go back here, refresh the page. I'm going to delete some of my uploads because I'm going to start with new. Okay, so now this has been deleted, and also in the items we do not have anything. Okay, so now let's refresh this. I can upload a image here, and we can write 11th video tutorial of Dribble series. Okay, something like this, and here we can write subscribe. Okay, after that we can add a image component, or we can add a video component. Okay, now let's add this image here. Okay, and a gallery component as well. So in this I'm going to add this image and a video. Okay, so now let's say our entries here. So in the entries everything is good. Now continue, select the category here, so it will be web design, and then we can go web design. Okay, now let's try to save this. and as you can see, I have been redirected to the home page. That means our short has been made. Okay, now let's go to our database, and here you will see a new short. Title this, tag this, go to the items, and here you will see our content for the text component and for the others. So we have successfully have made the upload component. Okay, so this took quite a while. We have almost spent around 8 to 9 hours only on this upload section, but it was worth it because in the end we were able to copy the Dribble upload section. Now that we have made our short, I'm going to make some more short here, and then we are going to work on the rendering part. So in the rendering part we are going to do many things just like we do in the Dribble. We are going to make collections, we are going to give feedback, like, share, and everything that we do in the Dribble we are going to do here as well. Yeah, with this we are done with our upload section. I'm going to do some more fine tuning here, and in the next video I'll mention these changes, and from the next video we're actually going to start the rendering part. Okay, so yeah.